taking their side, CNN? What is wrong with you all? You are so out of touch with what's 85% of this country does not support what you are spewing out right now.
Federal judges versus Donald Trump. In this video, we are going to witness some of the biggest meltdowns we have seen in a while revolving around this topic. It gets pretty crazy. Now, before we start this video, please like the video. It's the #1 way you can help this channel, and it helps others see the videos as well. Let us begin.
Paula, wow, this is a very big deal. This is a huge deal. Here you have Chief Justice John Roberts appearing to push back on statements President Trump made earlier today, suggesting that a judge, James Boasberg, who of course temporarily blocked deportations by the Trump administration, or at least tried to, should be impeached. And here the Chief Justice writes, "For more than 2 centuries, it has been established that impeachment is not an appropriate response to disagreement concerning a judicial decision. The normal appellate review process exists for that purpose."
Okay, so Donald Trump does respond to that Chief Justice. Stick around for that in 1 second. However, I just want to point out there are a lot of federal judges who just seem to be popping up out of nowhere and trying to stop the Trump administration, whether it's through Doge operations, military operations, or deportation operations. And this is why we are probably seeing Donald Trump and some of his staff start to attack the federal judges as far as their ability or the legality of them telling Donald Trump what to do.
The Chief Justice said it was more than two centuries. We understood that essentially impeachment was for very rare circumstances and not an appropriate response to rulings you disagree with. What's your reaction to the courts stepping in to make a statement here? They didn't make a statement when Joe Biden decided to forgive all those student loans.
Well, he didn't mention my name in the statement. I just saw it quickly. He didn't mention my name, but many people have called for his impeachment, the impeachment of this judge. I don't know who the judge is, but he's radical left. He was Obama appointed. And he actually said we shouldn't be able to take criminals, killers, murderers, horrible, the worst people, gang members, gang leaders, that we shouldn't be allowed to take them out of our country. Well, that's a presidential job. That's not for a local judge to be making that determination.
All right, leave your comments down below how you feel about this. Essentially, this is the big divide. You have illegal immigrants who came into the country. They came from Venezuela. They are a part of TDA, a terror organization. Thus, the Trump administration says, let's get rid of them, send them back home. However, on the opposite end, you have judges and others who are saying, hold on, we still need due process. They should also have some rights.
How long does it take him to review this stuff? These judges, he'll sit on his ass for months so these criminals can stay in this country. This is all this is. This is overreach. And I'll guarantee you, if his kids had been murdered or raped, as has happened in this country to several American citizens by these thugs, that he would be taking a different position. But he's protected. You all protect him. You all have got to come off this. Seriously, I don't know how you all sleep at night.
I think the Constitution states pretty clearly that federal judges interpret federal law. Do you have a gripe with that?
So again, I'm not making this up. I'm trying to provide you guys some evidence where you have this divide, where you have the congressman out of Tennessee, Republican Tim Burchett. He's like, hold on. The due process in the United States takes a long time. Let's just get rid of these known terror suspects. And then you have the whole, well, hold on, federal judges are supposed to do their job. And I think every American would agree that, yes, we should have due process if you are an American. However, this is a terror organization. These are terror suspects.
No, except for this judge is a created situation, and I don't think it's viable. I think it's political overreach by the left, and I never understand why CNN takes the side of a bunch of murderers that have come into our country illegally. And I realize you all have you have to make your stand, but that is complete nonsense, and the American public's not buying it. Listen, this is an act of war by these countries.
What it does mean, Scott, is the judicial branch needs to work its way through it to understand.
And in the meantime, what? These people get to run wild in the United States while we wait?
No, that's not the only option.
That's not what's happening.
There's a middle ground where we give humans human rights. And as a country, we give people, even people who are in this country without paperwork,
I wouldn't coddle
basic human rights. And if you think that's coddling, then I don't think you understand.
Last word is your mic. I got to tell you something. The reason why we have a constitution actually is to protect everyone. Who I've heard all these lectures from Republicans about the Constitution protecting people from this overarching government. Just any people.
Just any
All
terrorist
people,
that wanders in?
any
All right, this video is sponsored by American Financing. Look, I don't know your exact situation, but if you're like the thousands of homeowners American Financing talks to every month, you're struggling to keep up, barely making ends meet, drowning in high interest debt, it's not your fault. Life got more expensive. Inflation hit hard. If you're still carrying credit card balances with 20% plus interest rates while mortgage sits untouched, you're ignoring the one thing that could turn it all around, your home. And this is where American Financing can help. Would you trade 10 minutes for a shot at saving an average of $800 every single month? Because that's exactly what homeowners are doing when they call American Financing. A simple, no obligation call could change everything. They have a team of salary-based mortgage consultants, so there isn't any incentive to put you into a loan that doesn't make any sense. And there are no upfront fees to find out how much you can save. Don't wait, call American Financing today and start feeling that relief. Call 866-889-2611. That's 866-889-2611, or visit americanfinancing.net/T-SPLY. I'll put the links in my bio and pinned comment. Go check this team out. They're awesome. Okay, so this is very important. You do have constitutional rights if you come into the country illegally or if you are a terror suspect. You have some constitutional rights to protect the humanity of the person. Now, when it comes to the invocation of the Alien Enemies Act, to go after Tren de Aragua, the reason why they did this, Donald Trump, is to make the process faster as far as getting rid of these terrorist suspects out of U.S. soil. Now, some people are seeing this as, oh, he's just trying to get around the courts and the judges, and over on the Trump side, they're saying, not necessarily, we're just trying to get these very bad people out of the country immediately.
Of course.
Actually, these are terrorists. Okay, they were designated. They were the organization to which they belong, but regardless,
we don't really know.
Regardless of
actually,
regardless
that's
of that we don't know.
No, they don't.
They're
Actually,
in
we
the
don't
country
know.
illegally.
We don't know.
Allegedly.
They're not. This is not.
We haven't
These are not two
Actually,
plain words of Sunday school teachers.
hold on.
These people are in the country.
Scott,
I'm sorry,
beings
Scott. They
who are
came on
entitled to due
vacation in
process.
America for
They're
a couple
not
of days.
citizens of the
Josh,
United
come
States.
on.
We don't know because we don't have the information and we can't trust the Trump
Josh, why do you
administration
think
to
they
tell
were
us.
here? Vacationing for a couple of days
Tell me
in
the names
Florida?
of the people in their
I'm just
status.
curious.
You don't know.
Let me just ask one.
You don't know who they are, and I don't know who they are because they didn't tell us because they shipped them into some El Salvadorian supermax prison without any due process whatsoever.
And El Salvador said, come on home.
And if you're
going to
El
prison
Salvador,
where you belong.
They're
Where you belong.
One second. 2 points. One.
It's two different
El Salvador doesn't have to follow the U.S. Constitution.
All right, so I'm going to need you to buckle up for this next clip. I am about to play you an MSNBC clip talking about Donald Trump invocating the Alien Enemies Act. This clip just came out, and again, we are all entitled to our opinion, but this is how MSNBC is seeing the situation.
Is a constitutional crisis now officially upon us? From the invocation of an 18th century law that was the basis for some of the darkest chapters in America's history, things like the internment of Japanese Americans during World War II, now being used to deport hundreds of people, to the sudden removal of an immigrant doctor here legally, both moves seemingly from what we know at this hour, at the time in open defiance of court orders. A series of developments over the last 48 hours point to a Trump administration acting as though it is now unencumbered by the law and things like court rulings. In just an hour from right now, federal judge James Boasberg will hold a hearing on whether the Trump administration violated his ruling when it deported hundreds of Venezuelan migrants to a prison camp in El Salvador. They were deported.
Now, one thing I find rather interesting, and I don't think anyone finds it shocking, that's how MSNBC is reporting the story. I just want to be fair here. That MSNBC clip does not once mention or notion that possibly, just possibly, any of these Venezuelans could possibly be in a gang that was a part of a terror organization. Again, I just want to point that out in order to be fair so that you guys can form your own opinion.
And if you had a conservative one doing it, you all would be raising total hell. But because it's a left-winger
Congressman,
and it's sandy, and you all take that side.
This isn't a question about the media. This isn't a question about the media. No one's taking a side here. Congressman,
yes,
no
you
one's
are.
taking a side here.
He is not.
I'm asking you about the Constitution. Is asking about the Constitution. All I'm asking you is about the Constitution, what you think of it, and what you would advise this White House and your feeling about judicial rulings. And that seems to be upsetting you. I'm just trying to get your position on this and what you would advise the White House going forward.
It's not upsetting. Well, I guess what upsets me is that you all at CNN continuously take the side of the far left, and that's why your ratings continue to plummet. And I do not ever understand why y'all do that every time. I know you got to take the opposite side on everything, but you all are wrong on this.
Now, there is another part of this story that not too many people are pointing out. I have only heard Stephen Miller bring up the fact that, look, when judges make these orders, they could also be putting people's lives at risk. As far as making an order when this plane is over international waters, I'm going to let Stephen Miller make his case because I think it's rather interesting in order for you to form an opinion.
But let me make another point. The judge, in this case, put the lives of every single person on those aircraft at risk. Did he know how much fuel was in those planes? Did he know the flight conditions? Did he know the weather conditions? Did he know how many crew hours? Did he know the need for crew rest? Did he know any of that? No. This judge violated the law. He violated the Constitution.
So
he defied the system of government that we have in this country.
Because that does seem to be what you're arguing.
These same district court judges didn't do a damn thing to stop Joe Biden from flooding this nation with millions of illegal aliens. Do these district court judges didn't issue any injunctions to save the lives of Jocelyn Nungary or Laken Riley or anyone
the federal
else?
courts? Is that what you're saying?
Now, Stephen Miller has been going very hard on social media as far as calling out the hypocrisy of a lot of these federal judges to almost not care about anything that Joe Biden may have done. When you look at what Donald Trump is doing, all of a sudden you're seeing a lot of these federal judges come out. Again, I'm saying all this for you guys to form your own opinion because Stephen Miller seems to be on the forefront of really going in on these federal judges.
If each and every deportation has to be adjudicated in a district court judge, that means you have no country, it means you have no sovereignty, it means you have no future. It is fundamentally incompatible to have a country and have individual expulsions adjudicated by a single district court judge.
I'm just trying to figure out at what point in the system do you, because what does the Trump administration believe? Because we do have separation of powers in this country. I hear what you're saying.
Yes,
you're saying the
separation of
district
powers.
court does
This
not
is the judiciary
have authority.
interfering
Stephen,
in
let me finish.
the executive function.
That
is the separation of powers. That is the separation of powers.
Did you ignore the judge's order here because you thought you could?
So the judge's order and the actions taken by the Departments of Defense, Justice, and Homeland Security are not in conflict.
Okay, so I think you're smart enough to know where this is going. You have Donald Trump saying the judges are overstepping. You have some judges saying, no, Donald Trump is overstepping and what he's doing is not constitutional. Here's another clip from CNN, Anderson Cooper, really trying to hone in on Donald Trump. You know, he has no oversight now if he can just tell other judges what to do, or the executive branch can do whatever they want to do if Donald Trump is in charge.
Their politics.
And Judge Gertner, I mean, if the president says the pardons are null and void and the Justice Department, the FBI work for him, what's to stop them from launching investigations into the January 6th committee members? I mean, would courts in some way step in on that?
Nothing to. Well, I mean, that's what one would have to do in this situation is what one is doing with respect to the deportation orders, the various executive orders, is they will have to be challenged in court. He would start an investigation. There would be a challenge to the investigation saying we were pardoned, and then you'd have to litigate the legitimacy of the pardon. But the scary thing about this, scary is not a strong enough word. He is simply testing the limits of our judicial system and testing the limits of our law. And while his minions are claiming that, you know, this is the judge's fault and that they should be impeached, the fact of the matter is that what he is doing and trying to do is lawless from top to bottom. And it would be shocking if judges did not respond. In other words, it's his doing, not their doing, that is the problem.
Well, Ellie, let me just point out a possibility here. because Liz brought up this.
Now, despite Donald Trump facing all of this backlash, there actually was a massive celebration in Florida, you know, in honor of Donald Trump with this really cool drone show. I just wanted to show you guys, despite the media going all in on Donald Trump, he still has a lot of supporters willing to front a lot of money to throw these drone shows in support of Donald Trump. So with everything going on, I'm sure we are going to get a lot more of these judges popping up. Again, as I make this video, I think we had either 2 or 3 pop up today, and that is why I am making this video. Again, thank you so much for being here. Please leave your comments down below how you feel about these judges. You know, these judges do have the right to say something if something is wrong, but I'm starting to get the sense that a lot of people are starting to question, is this becoming a little too political? Whenever Donald Trump does something, a judge seems to pop up. I think there's around like 300 plus federal judges who are more left-leaning or have been put in by like Obama or Joe Biden. Anyway, thank you guys for being here. God bless, and we'll see you guys later.